Please be seated. The court is now in session. As the chamber informed the parties and the public, today we will continue the document hearing regarding the submission of key documents relevant to the facts mentioned in our memo, that is E223/3, paragraph 4, and that it will be continued by the prosecution. Before I hand the floor over, Mr. Evidentiary, could you report the attendance of the parties and individuals to today's proceeding? Evidentiary, Mr. President, for today's proceeding, all parties to discuss are present, except the accused Insari, who is present in the holding cell downstairs due to his health. And the accused Nunchi and Kiu Sampon are absent due to their health reasons. Through document E258/2 and E223/4 submitted their waiver for the document hearing today. Thank you. President, thank you. The floor is now given to the prosecution to continue their presentation regarding the key documents related to the population movement phases 1 and 2 and the killing site of Tulpu Chirey. You may proceed.
Good morning, Mr. President, Your Honours. Can I please start by addressing the question raised yesterday by Her Honour Judge Cartwright with respect to the prosecution's position with regard to document presentations on the role of the accused and joint criminal enterprise. Your Honour, the position is this, that given the time that's going to be required to select, prepare and combine documents at times in 3 languages, the OCP would be in a position to present these presentations at the earliest next Wednesday and Thursday. I hope Your Honour will appreciate that the OCP and indeed all the parties are having to twin track at present, and what I mean by that is to prepare either for document hearings or for testimony. And Your Honour, we have these 2 potential scenarios next Monday. One is that the court may be completing the testimony of TCW 100, whose testimony is part heard. The court may be moving on to start the testimony of TCW 110, and so we're mindful.
President, the co-prosecutor, could you please slow down a little bit so that the interpreter could make a full record of your statement, particularly the code names for the witnesses. Thank you.
Mr. President, forgive me. The code names for the witnesses who potentially could be heard, and we're of course in the court's hands, but we anticipate that the court may decide to complete the testimony of witness TCW 100, or may decide to commence the testimony of witness TCW 110. The OCP is in a position to proceed in either of those eventualities. Your Honour, plainly, if witnesses were to be heard next Monday and Tuesday, that would sensibly occupy court time, and the OCP could then present on the role of the accused next Wednesday and Thursday. Your Honour, with regard to the presentation on joint criminal enterprise, we would respectfully submit that that is a presentation that should take place towards the end of the evidence hearings. We say that because there are obviously other documents to be presented to witnesses who have not yet been called. We wish to avoid repetition and duplication, and we hope that that presentation will be most usefully digested by the judges towards the end of the evidence hearings. So, Your Honour, Judge Cartwright, I hope that addresses the question that you raised yesterday. Can I say that I'd like now, subject to any comments from the judges, to hand over to my learned friend, Mr. Veng Hut, to introduce the document presentation on forced movement. Thank you.
President, yes, you may proceed. Good morning, Mr. President, Your Honours. Good morning, everyone in and around the courtroom. The prosecution will make a presentation to the Chamber regarding evidence of forced movement, starting from phase 1, that is when it commenced on the 17th April 1975, and the second phase of the forced population movement, starting in late 1975. In our presentation, we will show the Chamber the documents which already exist in the case file, as well as the related events. We also have some videos and photographs to present to the Chamber and the parties. And the topics of our presentation are the following. 1. The period immediately before 17 April 1975 and the situation in Phnom Penh. 2. The attack on Phnom Penh by the Khmer Rouge force. 3. The arrival of the Khmer Rouge force in Phnom Penh on 17 April 1975. 4. The evacuation of city dwellers. 5. The evacuation of people through various cooperatives in the countryside. 6. The identification process, the separation and the execution of former civil servants and soldiers of the Khmer Republic regime, and in particular the events that took place at Tul Puchray site. Number 7, the forced population movement during the second phase, and the number of people to be evacuated and the process of the movement, as well as the consequences on the people. The honors will be presented with the types of the documents as follows. First, the report by the Secret Information Service of the United States. Second, the documents from the U.S. Archives. 3. A summary from various broadcasts by the Khmer's representatives. 4. Reports from international media. 5. Telegrams sent and received from French embassies in Phnom Penh. 6. Various publications of the Communist Party of Cambodia, including records of visits of the non-standing committee members to the Northwest in September 1975, and the report from Northwest dated 27 March 1977. Under this topic, the prosecution will not delve into details of the evidence related to the ideology or the introduction and development of the policy of forced movement, and 2. The role of the accused in the joint criminal enterprise regarding the forced population movement. As instructed by Judge Cartwright yesterday and affirmed by my colleague, we already made a request and submission to the Chamber regarding this matter. And I would like now to cede the floor to my colleague to proceed with our presentation. Thank you, Mr. President. President, thank you. International Prosecutor, you may proceed.
Mr. President, thank you. Can I please indicate that the first batch of documents will be covering the period from late February, early March 1975 through to the 16th of April of 1975. And can I begin the presentation, please, by reference to document number E3/334, Khmer ERN 007 0867 through 8, English 004 13053, and French 007 51935, and the Khmer version of that will come up on the screen. This, Mr. President, Your Honours, is a document extracted from the archives of the United States Department of State. They produced, in effect, running reports on a monthly basis about the situation in Cambodia. And this entry reads as follows. In-country clandestine radio reports that on the 24th to 25th of February, Khieu Samphan chaired the Second Cambodian National Congress in liberated territory. The Grunk in-country cabinet attended, as did 273 representatives of front associations and the army. They declared that, and quote, It is absolutely necessary to kill the 7 traitors: Lon Nol, Sirik Matak, Son Nyot Tan, Cheng Heng, In Tam, Long Boret, and Sostene Fernandez. Other politicians and high personalities, however, may join FUNC if they stop cooperating with the 7 now. Next, please, can I move to document E3/3551, the Khmer ERN 00725702 and the French 007-63934. We are still dealing with US Department of State documents, and this page records an entry for the events of the 28th of February of 1975. Under a heading Indochina, the following is stated. Inaugural flights of US Rice airlift went smoothly, with 3 planes making total 10 Tan Sot Nyut Phnom Penh trips without mishap. Rebel rockets hit near the airport as the Rice lift begins. The next entry within that document is on Khmer page 00725704, French 007-6394, and English 004-13033. And it states, while most people in Phnom Penh have enough to eat, relief agencies report thousands of refugees starving with beginning of food airlift. The next extract is from E3/3334. The Khmer ERN is 0074-0868. The French 0075-1931. English 004-13054. And the document records this. Aid has now been authorised to begin a rice programme. Up to 20,000 metric tonnes of rice stored in Vietnam has been transferred for immediate use. This will enable the voluntary agencies and the Red Cross to greatly increase their feeding programmes for refugees and other needy people. Up to 150 tonnes a day of rice currently being airlifted. On March the 2nd of 1975, rice stocks in Phnom Penh totaled 8,693 metric tonnes, or a 16-day supply at the official distribution rate. While no rice arrived in Phnom Penh via the Mekong or from local harvests, the airlift from Saigon began on the 27th of February and delivered 1,694 metric tons in the initial 4 days. The operation is proceeding satisfactorily, with the number of flights increasing from 7 on February the 28th to 14 on March the 3rd. Still within that document, different page numbers. Khmer 007 40869, French 0075 1932. Rice and fish prices rose about 7% during the past week, to lead an overall price increase of about 3%. Black market prices of US rice rose 5% and Battambang rice 9%. Same ERNs, English for this one 0041 3056. Average group prices for meat, poultry and vegetables remained steady, while fruits rose almost 3% and local products rose about 2.5%. Another entry on the same page. After several weeks of relative inactivity, the Khmer Rouge took the initiative again on the east bank of the Mekong, across from Phnom Penh. They took key positions at Ta Chau and Pret Leung. Another entry on the same page, same theme. The fall of Pret Leung has given the Khmer Force gunners better rocket coverage of downtown Phnom Penh and put them in mortar and recoilless rifle range of the naval base on the peninsula just east of the capital. Same document, different ERNs. Khmer 00740871, French 007 51933, and English 004 13057. Between February the 25th and March the 3rd, 47 rockets exploded in Phnom Penh city. Sorry, can I quote again? Between February the 25th and March the 3rd, 47 rockets exploded in Phnom Penh city proper, killing 19 people and wounding 29. 119 additional rounds landed in the Pochentong area, although few reached the airport. The rounds killed 9 and injured 61. Incoming rounds at both locations have more than doubled since the last count. Can I move next to documents from the 9th of March? This is a document that I propose to read. It's from the 9th of March. It's an entry from the United States Foreign Broadcast Intelligence Service reports. The acronym FBIS referred to in this court FIBIS. This is a record from the 9th of March, 1975. The heading is the French Press Agency reports more embassies evacuating personnel. And the entry for the 9th of March reads, 15 people were killed and 23 others wounded today when Khmer Rouge insurgents blasted Phnom Penh and its Pochentong airport with rocket fire. The next document, E3/120, English ERN 00166. Sorry, forgive me. Can I start again? The document is E3/3336. The Khmer ERN 006350044 leading to 45. French 0059974 through 55. And English 00413-126. Again, US Department of State document E3/3336. This is for the 11th of March 1975. On the economic front, planning goes forward for implementation of the new rice programme for Cambodia. And then under the heading Political, at Khmer ERN 006-35045, same French ERN, President Lon Nol's reported remark to a congressional delegation that he would be willing to resign in the cause of peace predictably became a prime topic. And further in the quote, Prime Minister Long Boret gave a press conference in which he said that Lon Nol himself and members of the government are all prepared to resign should that help bring peace. Within the same document, Khmer ERN 006350049, French 005-99762, and English 004-13132. This entry. Sihanouk also gave an interview to Le Monde. He referred to the recently completed Grunk Funk National Congress and its decision to grant complete amnesty to all on the government side except the 7 traitors who must be killed. A few lines down, Sihanouk denied there would be a bloodbath if the Khmer Rouge forces took over. A few lines below that, this entry. The theme that only the 7 traitors must die is now being stressed repeatedly in Khmer Rouge force broadcasts. This is probably designed to serve the double purpose of appealing to wavering elements inside Cambodia and to rebut growing speculation abroad about possible massacres in the wake of a Khmer Rouge victory. The next extract has Khmer ERN 006 35050, French 005 99763, and still English 0041 3132. And under the heading Economic, there is this entry. Under the newly authorised rice programme for Cambodia, deliveries began on the 5th of March, with airlifted rice being moved to a specially designated warehouse from which voluntary agencies will make direct withdrawals upon approval of the Ministry of Refugees. The first distribution was made in Phnom Penh on March the 7th. It is estimated the refugee and other needy categories will reach a total requirement of 3,600 tonnes per month. On March the 11th, USAID and voluntary agency representatives met with the government to develop further plans for the programme. On the next page, or moving partly from 50 to 51 in Khmer, using the last numbers, English ERN 004 13133 and French 005 99763, this brief entry. Rice stocks in Phnom Penh on March the 10th totalled 8,454 metric tonnes, and these stocks represent 15.5 days' supply at the current daily distribution rate. Still within the same document, Khmer ERN 006 35051, French 005 99765, English 004 13134. From February the 27th, when the rice airlift from Saigon started, through 9th March, there have been 124 sorties flown, delivering 4,998 metric tonnes, or a daily average of 11 sorties at 454 metric tonnes. And on the same page, another red boxed item. Except for charcoal, which went up 17%, prices were relatively unchanged in Phnom Penh markets during the past week. The same page in Khmer, French ERN 005 99765, English 004 13135. Market activity appears to be off slightly due to sporadic rocket attacks directed towards the centre of the city. On the next page in Khmer and French, under the heading Military, and this is still the 11th of March report, the city of Phnom Penh received incoming rocket fire during the week, but by far the greatest number of rounds were fired by the Khmer Rouge troops at Pochentong airfield. Another red box on the same page. The government situation along the lower Mekong deteriorated even further when troops at the last friendly position between Nhiet Loan and the South Vietnamese border were evacuated on the 7th of March. Within the same document, Khmer ERN 0063 5053, French 005 99767, and English 004 13136. This entry. Outside of Phnom Penh, there was little change. The southwestern city of Kampot is getting steady enemy pressure and mounting civilian casualties while holding its reduced perimeter. Next, can I please move to a new document? E3/120. There are no translations in Khmer or French. The English ERN is 001 66810. This is an extract from the FIBIS reports for the 13th of March. It's recording a radio interview, and the heading is as follows. Paris Radio interviews Sihanouk on the Cambodian situation. And this was being reported on the 12th of March 1975. The quote is as follows. The situation is daily getting a little worse in Cambodia. The American air bridge, which supplies Phnom Penh with food, fuel and ammunition, was suspended again yesterday because of the intensity of shelling by the Khmer Rouge, who surround the town. Marshal Lon Nol himself said that the nation is in danger. In Washington, President Gerald Ford is pressing Congress to grant extremely urgent aid to Phnom Penh. Within that same document, again, there are no translations, as I have said, but if I can move, please, to English ERN page 001 66821. And this was a record of an interview with a representative from the National United Front for Cambodia. And that person was a Politburo member of the National United Front of Cambodia. And his name was Chau Theng. And the question from the interviewer was as follows. Question. Mr. Ford, and can I interject and explain, that's the US President Gerald Ford. Mr. Ford claims to fear a bloodbath after the collapse of the Phnom Penh regime. Your National Congress, on the other hand, has named the 7 traitors who must be eliminated. What will happen? Answer. The bloodbath is happening now, since the 1970 coup. It will cease when American intervention ceases. Apart from the 7 traitors who organised the coup that brought Cambodia into the war, all other Cambodians, including officers and civil servants, can join with the National United Front of Cambodia when they cease collaborating with the Lon Nol regime. Our National Congress has just restated that we hold fast to the policy of a broad-based union of the whole nation and all the people, irrespective of class, politics, or religion, and regardless of anyone's past, except for the 7 traitors. Within the same document, at English ERN 001-66830, still on E3/120, there is a report that on the 15th of March 1975, a work session was held at 09:30 at the Ministry of Refugees under the chairmanship of the Refugees Construction and Community Development Minister to devise ways and means to better utilise the special US aid of 20,000 tonnes of rice for free distribution to refugees and needy people in the Khmer Republic. And on the same theme, but on the next page, so that's 001-66831 on an English ERN. Rice distribution to refugees and residents of Phnom Penh and various provinces is to be increased from 150 grams to 300 grams per day per person. Within the same document, and can this please go up on the screen if possible, Khmer ERN 007-00233. It's still within document E3/120. The English ERN is 00166826. This again is an extract from the FIBIS reports for the 17th of March 1975. The heading of the item is Khieu Samphan appeals for intensified struggle 15 March. And this was from a broadcast by the voice of the National United Front of Cambodia of Phnom Penh, brackets clandestine, close brackets. It was in Cambodian to Cambodia, and it was broadcast at 0700 hours Greenwich Mean Time on the 15th of March 1975. And the text of the broadcast was, it was an appeal to monks, countrymen, and foreign residents in Phnom Penh and other provincial capitals under temporary enemy control by the Deputy Prime Minister, Khieu Samphan. And to extract just one line from the broadcast, at page English 001-66828, I quote, "You are asked to intensify your struggle against the traitors, attacking them from the inside." Still within the same document, this is E3/120. I'm now moving to no, in fact, forgive me, document number E3/3341, English 00413194, and French 00606713. These are US Department of State reports from the 18th of March 1975. The first item I in fact want to read is one further digit in both Khmer and French. The rice airlift, expanded to provide free food to refugees and the needy, has brought in over 700 tonnes daily since March the 15th. Within the same document, Khmer ERN 00631505 and French 00606715. And this is reporting the Sihanouk interview with French TV and radio. The Prince, apparently acquiescing in the February 2nd National Congress decision, noted that the 7 principal and former government leaders have been sentenced to death, but that others would be granted clemency if they were not too late in cooperating with Grunk. Within the same document, Khmer ERN 00631509, French 00606718. This is still within E3/3341, and English 00413198. It's noted, Ieng Sary left Peking for home 15th of March with alternate Funk Politburo member Kiat Chon and his wife aboard his special plane. And red box on the same page. On the 15th of March, Khieu Samphan broadcast an appeal for intensified struggle, in which he set forth his view of the government's agony. He noted serious losses to the Republican Navy and asserted firm insurgent control over the Mekong. He claimed the government lacks forces and is in a situation of general collapse. Within the same document, Khmer ERN 00631510, French 00606719, English 00413199. Under the heading Economic. The opening rice stocks on March the 17th amounted to 8,341 metric tonnes, representing a 13-day supply level based on daily distribution of 545 metric tonnes to the population. And the tempo of the rice airlift substantially increased in the last 3 days. The civilian Pol airlift is meeting the target of 120 cubic metres a day, plus 45 cubic metres every other day from Saigon. On the 13th of March, US aid continued its dialogue with the US and international voluntary agencies, encouraging them to press harder and further to feed the needy of the city under the newly instituted RICE programme. And on the next page in Khmer, which is ERN 00631511, same French and English ERNs, the overall price level rose slightly, less than 2%. Still within the same document, so we're still on US Department of State documents. And this is on Khmer ERN 00631514, French 006066722, and English 004-13202. And there is an entry that on the March the 15th, the Khmer Rouge drove off several positions near Niet Lung's southeast perimeter, penetrating to within a few hundred metres of the city. The next document is a FIBIS report, no translations in Khmer or French, so I propose to read the English, which is on ERN English 001-66851. This is an extract from the FIBIS reports, and it's covering events on the 20th of March of 1975. The heading to the entry is "Rockets hit Long Barrett's home and just miss the US Embassy." And the extract states this: "Rockets today hit the homes of Prime Minister Long Barrett and Cambodian Naval Commander General Vong Serendi in this besieged city, but neither was injured. A total of 20 insurgent rockets slammed into Phnom Penh, killing 4 people and wounding 15 others." Moving now to a new document, is E3/118. No Khmer or French, English ERN 001-66901. It's a FIBIS report. It's covering events on the 1st of April 1975. The entry reads as follows. On the 1st of April 1975, and this is a radio broadcast by the voice of the National United Front of Cambodia, again clandestine. It was in Cambodian to Cambodia. And it states as follows. On the 1st of April 1975 in the afternoon, our Cambodian People's National Liberation Armed Forces completely liberated Niet Lung base. This victory has extremely great strategic significance, for this base is the enemy's main system of strategic positions on the Mekong River. This means that henceforth our CPN-LAF and Cambodian people are in complete control of the Mekong River from Phnom Penh to the South Vietnamese border. There is then an entry on the next page of this document, which is English ERN 001 6690. And it's covering again the 1st of April. And this was a radio broadcast on the 3rd of April, but it was covering events on the 1st of April. And it states as follows: as of the 1st of April 1975, after Marshal Non Lol left Cambodia, the duties of President of the Republic fell on me, Salkham Khoi, Chairman of the Senate, in conformity with the Constitution of the Republic. And he talked of finding a way to save our nation, solving the conflict through peaceful negotiations. And he spoke of the government of the Khmer Republic wanting to make contact with the brothers on the other side to draw up a plan to end this war. At this point, can I please ask for the assistance from the ITU unit? Mr. President, Your Honours, I will be playing a series of video extracts as part of this presentation. I would like the IT unit to play video number 1. That is a video which was entitled Pol Pot, the Killing Embrace. It lasts for 50 seconds. This was an extract cut from the full version of this documentary. The reference within the case file is D108/32.2R, and it's item 988 within that combined exhibit. This is a 50-second excerpt. It has an English commentary. The IT unit will translate, in effect, from English. And can I make it clear that this is the only extract within the presentation that will have commentary? So please, can the IT unit play video number 1, the extract from Pol Pot, the Killing Embrace? Thank you.
President, the AV unit, could you please play the video as requested by the prosecutor?
Sorry, Mr. President, can I ask this to be played with sound, please? Can I ask that it be rewound and played from the start with sound? Thank you.
President, AV unit, could you please start from the beginning and the sound also be heard?
The Khmer Rouge are now fighting alone. Under peace terms agreed in Paris, US forces withdraw from Vietnam, and for their part, the North Vietnamese army leaves Cambodia. Pol Pot gives the order to fight on alone. Victory is now just a matter of time. By the beginning of April 1975, the demoralized forces of Lon Nol have fallen back to the perimeter of Phnom Penh. The city's population has been quadrupled by refugees from the countryside, and they sustain heavy casualties from the Khmer Rouge bombardment. Then Lon Nol flees to the United States with $1 million payoff, leaving the city to the mercy
Thank you. Moving next, it's document E3/118. This is a FIBIS report, only in English. English ERN 001-66919. It's reporting an event on the 4th of April 1975, and the heading is Private Weapons to be Borrowed. And the extract reads as follows. Under the current difficult circumstances and within the framework of the cooperation system of the General Mobilisation Organisation, the government has decided to borrow weapons from our citizens, regardless of whether they have licences for these weapons. Still on E3/118, it's a report for the 6th of April 1975, English ERN 001-66921. FIBIS report. Heading: Long Boret stops in Bangkok en route to Phnom Penh. It's talking about events on the 6th of April. And the quote is as follows. Reuters reported that the First Minister Long Boret arrived in Bangkok on Sunday afternoon on his way from Jakarta back to Cambodia. A couple of lines down. He said there will be no military victories, only negotiations, and stressed that if the other side does not agree to negotiate, it will be held responsible for any consequences which may arise. Long Boret is also called for democratic elections in the country under international control, so that people can freely choose their leaders. The next entry is covering the 9th of April 1975. The Khmer ERN is 007-002-74 through 75. The English is 001-66927. This is a broadcast by the voice of the National United Front of Kampuchea in Cambodian to Cambodia. Its heading is Q Sampan Denial. And it reads as follows. Second paragraph. According to some Western sources, a few days ago, the contemptible Long Boret said that there was a contact for negotiations with the other side. These sources reported that the puppet Thai foreign minister had said many times that there was negotiation between the Cambodians of both sides in Bangkok. He had also said that the contemptible Long Boret had met with a representative of the other side for 4 hours in a good atmosphere. On behalf of the entire Cambodian nation and people, the Cambodia People's National Liberation Armed Forces, the National United Front of Cambodia, and the Royal Government of National Union of Cambodia would like to issue this statement to firmly refute this deceitful manoeuvre. This is a very abject manoeuvre which good, normal politicians abhor. At a time when the desperate lackey clique is in agony, it only dares to make such a deceitful manoeuvre in order to deceive its masters. As they have previously done on several occasions, the NUFC and the RGNUC would like to make it clear again to the national and international opinion that they have absolutely never negotiated with, nor will they ever accept, negotiations with the traitorous clique. Moving on to the 10th of April, still on document E3/118, the English ERN 000666937, no translations in Khmer or French. And this is, again, a FIBIS report of a report that was broadcast on the 10th of April. The Cambodian nation and people, the NUFC and the RGNUC have already brought in a verdict against the 7 super traitors, and they are named. The residents and youths will annihilate and put an end to the existence of traitors, Sirik Matak and Long Boret, who are now in Phnom Penh. At present, the people and the CPNLAF are attacking Phnom Penh from all sides. The Cambodian people are pursuing their offensive without compromise of negotiations, and the Popular Armed Forces and the people of Cambodia will annihilate the arch-anti-national, arch-rotten, arch-fascist traitors who are then named, as well as their regime. The CPNLAF has already reached the doorsteps of Phnom Penh, Pre Veng and Kampong Speu cities, and are advancing towards liberating Cambodia 100%. I move now, please, to a document covering the events on the 12th of April 1975. This is a FIBIS report, E3/118, English ERN 001669339 No translations in Khmer or French. I therefore have to read the English. The heading of the item is Long Boret addresses the nation after Saukam Khoi flight. It was broadcast on the 12th of April 1975. On the second line of the main body there is this stated: This morning, Lieutenant General Saukam Khoi, acting President of the Khmer Republic, left Phnom Penh without first informing the nation. His departure has left our Republic without a Supreme Chief Executive. Therefore, I immediately called a meeting at Chamkamon Palace, which included responsible state personalities. And further down the page, in yellow, on that occasion, I and Lieutenant General Sak Sutsakan, Chief of the General Staff of the Cambodian National Armed Forces, delivered a report. And then after several hours of deliberations, the meeting made the following decision. Firstly, that Lieutenant General Saukam Khoi is no longer recognised as the acting president. And then on the next page, it was unanimously resolved to ask Parliament to transfer power to the National Armed Forces for a period of 3 months. The Armed Forces will establish a temporary body to be called the Supreme Commission of the Khmer Republic. to replace the acting president during this special time. Moving next to a document covering the 15th of April 1975, still E3118, English ERN 00166-958. The heading for this is the French press agency reports deteriorating military situation on the 15th and 16th of April. Government troops today abandoned the industrial suburbs of Takmau, just 6 miles or 10 kilometres from central Phnom Penh, after a heavy Khmer Rouge artillery barrage. And then a further broadcast on the same day. And this is attributed to information coming from Jean-Jacques Cazot, a French journalist of whom you will hear more later. The 15th of April. The military situation on the Phnom Penh front has deteriorated considerably for its defenders in the past few hours, with government forces abandoning 3 of the city's key defensive positions. Same document, ERN English 00166-950, again the 15th of April, and the heading is the NUFC radio reports Ponchantong Airport completely liberated. And the broadcast stated as follows. On the morning of the 15th of April at 1000 hours, we completely liberated Ponchantong Airport. Hundreds of officers, soldiers and pilots were routed or captured. And in Tulkork village, on the morning of the 15th of April, we assaulted Tulkork. And from kilometre marker number 6, we are attacking and advancing towards Rase Kiao, and then also events southeast of Phnom Penh. On that same page, an entry again for the 15th of April. This is on 00166-950. 15th of April, it reads, Red Khmer forces today launched an attack on the southern Phnom Penh suburb of Kbal Tal, about 4 kilometres from the centre of the capital. The Red Khmer attackers forced 4 battalions of government forces to pull back to establish a new defence line immediately north of the United Nations bridge, which spans the river Basak. Still within the same document, English ERN 00166-966, still on the 15th of April. The heading is this: Government appeals for doctors to treat casualties. The broadcast was on the 15th of April, and the text is as follows. Brigadier General Tim Mam, Dean of the Medical School and General Inspector of the Military Health Department, and Major Ung Son Sung, Superintendent of the 400th Military Hospital, appeals to all the 4th year medical students and higher grades, as well as military and civilian surgeons, to report to the clearing centre at Botrai Kaila Sports City to help administer medical treatment to the wounded. Same document, English ERN 00166-968, still on the 15th of April. This was a broadcast entitled, or the entry is entitled, Sirik Matak Writes Ford Dean on US Abandonment of Phnom Penh. And the entry reads as follows. Prince Sirik Matak, former Prime Minister and a key figure in the coup against Prince Norodom Sihanouk, today sent a telegram to President Gerald Ford saying that, quote, all present and future Cambodian deaths would be on the conscience of the American people. On the next page in English, which is 00166969, it's reported that the Cambodian news agency yesterday published General Sirik Matak's reply to Mr. Dean. I quote, I thank you very sincerely for your offer to take me to freedom. I cannot, alas, leave in such a cowardly fashion. As far as you are concerned, I would never have believed that you could have abandoned us. You are leaving, and if I die here, it will only be because I made a mistake. I believed in you. Moving to a new document, but on the same theme, E3/3445. The Khmer document runs from ERN 00738-432 through ultimately to Khmer 00738-436. The front page in English is 00443342 and in French 00777-633. This is in fact a document which is entitled a memorandum. It's on paper bearing the symbol for the White House in Washington. It records a cabinet meeting that took place in Washington on Wednesday, the 16th of April 1975 at 2:30 p.m. And the meeting took place in the cabinet room of the White House. The extract that I'd like to refer to is on Khmer 007-38435 through 436, French 00777-636, and English 00443344. Kissinger. I want to read to you the letter we've received from Sirik Matak, one of the Cambodian leaders, to our ambassador, when our ambassador invited him to leave with the evacuation. And then there's a quote. Dear Excellency and friend, I thank you very sincerely for your letter and for your offer to transport me towards freedom. And then, I cannot, alas, leave in such a cowardly fashion. As for you, and in particular for your great country, I never believed for a moment that you would have this sentiment of abandoning a people which has chosen liberty. You have refused us your protection, and we can do nothing about it. You leave, and my wish is that you and your country will find happiness under this sky. But mark it well, that if I shall die here on the spot and in my country that I love, it is too bad, because we are all born and must die one day. I have only committed this mistake of believing in you, the Americans. Next, please, I'd like to return to E3/118, recording the events still of the 16th of April 1975, English RN 00166-959. Again, Phibis reports, this is for the 16th of April, and the entries read as follows. The first one. Red Khmer troops have occupied the control tower at Pochentong Airport, about 10 kilometres west of the capital, the Republican radio announced at 4 p.m. today. A broadcast also the same day, again reference to the French journalist Jean-Jacques Cazot. Hopes for a last-minute ceasefire rose here today when desperate fighting lulled after a long, dark night of despair and panic as the Red Khmer closed in for the kill. The lull came suddenly, late in the morning, as the Red Khmer began to punch through in the suburbs. As the battle's tempo brusquely slowed, particularly well-informed sources said that the Phnom Penh leader could, in the coming hours, make a serious ceasefire proposal to the Royal Cambodian Government of National Union, the RGNUC, to halt the present fratricidal suicide. The next page in English, a few pages, 00166960, then reports this. And Mr. President, can I ask this, please? I can see the time, but can I just finish the 16th of April, and that then I hope is a logical pause. Early today, as the situation worsened in the south, Red Khmer troops brought the university under mortar fire to the west of the capital. They have moved down the road which leads out to Pochentong Airport. This highway remained open, but off limits. The government threw up roadblocks to keep out refugees fleeing in panic, following reports of the Red Khmer infiltration. At 4 p.m, the government radio said the airport control tower, something had happened, words indistinct. The noise of persistent weapons fire rolled into the capital from Pochentong early today. Government troops were dug in on the railway about 700 metres to the north of the airport towards Highway 4. There were no aircraft flying on the contested runways. 2 paragraphs down, the lull came today after a grim night. Premier Long Boret, obviously close to despair and overwhelmed by the turn of events, admitted that the military situation was catastrophic and that stocks of rice would only last a week. Mr. Long Boret seemed last night ready to accept any decision that would end the fighting. Then, within the same document, English ERN 001666970, this is a FIBIS report, was still on the 16th of April. And the heading of the broadcast is, Phnom Penh leaders request ceasefire, transfer of power, 16th of April. And the entry reads, the text of today's offer by the Phnom Penh government of a ceasefire and a transfer of power to Prince Norodom Sihanouk, head of the royal government of National Union of Cambodia, was released by the Prince's cabinet here today. And then, dealing with the response to the ceasefire, can I move to English ERN 001666971. FIBIS report, 16th of April, heading Sihanouk rejects offer. And the entry reads, Prince Norodom Sihanouk of Cambodia today rejected as unacceptable a proposal from Phnom Penh Supreme Council President Sak Sutsakan and Prime Minister Long Boret for a ceasefire and transfer of power. Next, English ERN 001 66963. April. There is a heading to a broadcast. CPN LAF issues appeal to the people to liberate Phnom Penh. And this was a broadcast by the NUFC in Cambodia to Cambodia. And it was a broadcast at 0400 hours Greenwich Mean Time on the 16th of April 1975. And the text reads, "Our armed forces are in complete control of Ponchantong and the portion of Route 4 between Ponchantong and Phnom Penh, and they have reached Talkork and kilometre marker number 6. All brother compatriots in Phnom Penh and the few provincial capitals under enemy control are invited to take to the street and take up arms against the enemy, thus contributing to the liberation of Phnom Penh, Battambang City and other towns under temporary army control." Mr. President, that concludes the 16th of April. Is it now appropriate to take the mid-morning break?
President, thank you. The time is appropriate for a short break. We will take a 20-minute break and return at 10 to 11. The court is now adjourned.